different question which relates to a military professional. He was Air Force top official since long time in Bangladesh, now retired and academician, expert on international affairs. Sir, how should Pakistan balance military operations versus negotiations with insurgent groups like the TTP?
There has been attempts to bring them to the negotiating table, but it has failed again and again. And there, you see these sort of incidents that where the civilians are killed and right in the capital, the public opinion and the media hype that is created. The public opinion is created and they, you see, in order to save their face, the military must respond while keeping the door or negotiations open. You know, the government in Pakistan today is also not a popularly elected government in the sense that the one who was most popular, the incumbent Prime Minister Imran Khan, and he's in the jail. He's in the jail and he's from Pakhtunkhwa and he has a lot of support from that province. But he's in the jail and the coalition that is running Pakistan is a discredited government. They have been in the power in the past. Today they are on this side, tomorrow they keep on changing sides. And though basically everybody thinks that it is the Pakistan military that runs at the the administration,
yes,
especially since Field Marshal Munir, who was made Field Marshal after the last clash, 4 days war with India, although the war was fought basically by the Air Force, but somehow or other army managed to get the promotion. And not only that, only day 4, I think it's about 3 or 4 days back, they have brought in certain changes in the structures of the military, where the army chief, there will be a field marshal, and who will be heading all the command decisions. Air Force and Navy will be subordinate to him, and virtually he can, without bypassing the central government, he can go to war. That sort of situation. Now that is like a country being run by the military. Well, some people might say, well, Pakistan has always been run by the military, but now it is more open than any time in the past.
Right, sir.
So I think there is a lot of trouble ahead.
Sir, what are the structural drivers behind this renewed surge in terrorism in South Asia in terms of economics, ideology, geography, governance? Would you please explain to us?
Well, there are certain right now there are many things happening which actually give rise to the terrorism and radicalism in any country, and one of them is for example governance. The governance both in India, Pakistan and also in Bangladesh,
yes,
is not at all up to the standard. A huge majority of people, they are of the opinion that the state has failed them. State has not been able to deliver the governance that anyone they expect from the government. Okay, despite paying tax, despite being a citizen of a country, many of them are what they call disenfranchised. Okay, and as in the previous segment I talked about the in case of India, although the democracy is working, but a large part of the minority community, especially the Muslims, have over the years, because of the BJP's pro-Hindutva policy, they are marginalized and they think that they are today deprived of some of the basic privileges that a nation, the citizen needs to have. For example, I have said that over the last 3 decades, the Muslims in India have lost ground as far as their other communities concerned. They are not represented in the military, they are not represented in the cabinet even, and in the diplomacy, in the administration, everywhere. So that gives rise to the tension. Similarly, there are other minorities in various, there is almost a civil war going on in Manipur. There is a lot of problem in the south between the states and within the states. And Pakistan, of course, is almost on the verge of collapse, and that collapse, if at all it happens, it's very more dangerous because they have then atomic weapons there. We don't know who's controlling. Is it the Prime Minister, the President, or the Field Marshal who controls the the weapons? So where these weapons falling into the wrong hands is also a big danger. As far as Bangladesh is concerned, I can tell you that over the last decade or so, or even more, there has been a slow rise of militancy or radicalization in the country, where the secular democratic forces are on the retreat or on the being sidelined by the extremist religious organizations. And within the you see, we call ourselves 90% Muslims, but we never had in the past the type of incidents that we have seen over the last few years, fight between Shias and Sunnis, and between the people who would go to the mazar and who would not go to the mazar. There are certain various issues have divided the society, and through this sort of division, those who are out to take benefits, they emerge, and this is evident in our society also. And there is also the possibility that the militant organizations which are operating maybe in India or in Pakistan or globally, they always have an interlink, their communication, and because of the easy availability of communication, they can communicate with each other. And for example, we have a number of people who died in Tehreek-e-Taliban.
Yeah.
That holy artisan is long back. Just recently,
yes,
there were people fighting the Pakistan army in Pakhtunkhwa for the Tehreek-e-Taliban, and they died. And we don't know. I mean, their parents don't know. Parents think that they have gone to Dubai or Abu Dhabi or something like that, but they are actually in the hills of Pakhtunkhwa or Afghanistan. So these people are traveling there, and this can put the country government very embarrassed. You see, this sort of thing happens when this sort of things happen. So we have to be very cautious.
Exactly.
In Bangladesh is a relatively small player in these things, but our government and our society, our schools and colleges have to guard against all this rising radicalism.
So how significant is the absence or limited participation of major emitters, especially United States, for global climate governance? I want to add one more question to you as we are running out of time. How can developing countries ensure their needs, adaptation, finance, loss and damage are addressed to this forum, sir?
It is very sad, as was pointed out, that if the one who claims to be the leader of the global world, you see, and he says that these are scientific walks, and he doesn't believe. And not only that, he opens up new oil fields, he opens up new gas fields, and he gives incentive to the drillers and miners who are mining these things, you see, and he calls it patriotic act. Then where do we go? You see, right now, for example, Bangladesh is we have a claim of billions of dollars from those emitters, because it's the poorest of the poor who suffer. In Bangladesh, you see, over the years, the salinity has increased, the global warming, because of global warming, the glaciers are drying up, which means that our rivers are drying up, and when the rivers dry up, the seawater enters, and there has been a huge migration of people from the coastal areas of Bangladesh to the capital city. They have lost everything. So you see, it gives rise immense pressure on our government, on our society, on our planning. So we have to this is only, I am talking about Bangladesh. So there are other people who are also suffering, and most of the suffering are done by the poor countries and the poorest of the poor who suffer.
Absolutely.
So, but unfortunately, you see, because United States itself officially went out of it, many of the European countries will also not be responding the way that they could have responded, and we have a dark future not only for poor countries, we have a dark future for the humanity. The existence of humanity in the long run is at stake actually.
Rohingya community or Rakhine community, there is a new problem we are gazing as a journalist may come, may pressure by Western world for these two communities, Rakhine and Rohingyas?
Well, we have the sufferer here again, because we are hosting about now it is 1.2 million, going to be very soon 1.3 billion. You know, it is more than the population of say for example Bhutan, which is almost 1/3 the size of Bangladesh, and these 1.1 million people are concentrated in few square miles of Cox's Bazar. So we have to, there is a question of their repatriation. It has been lingering for years together. We did not get the attention the way it deserves, neither from China, nor from India, nor from United States, nor from Russia. So as if it is our burden and we have to carry it on. Government is trying, but frankly speaking, because of all these issues that has come up over the years, Ukraine war, Gaza conflict, now the Sudan and the international terror, now the Rohingya issue is unfortunately in the backdrop. Just this today we had a seminar where they are talking about prosperous Arakan. If Arakan state can be, new investment can come in there, and there is a lot of scope for that. They have the soil, they have the minerals and all. And if both the communities can be persuaded to live peacefully within their areas, in fact, not only Myanmar itself will be benefited, all these communities
Yes,
will
sir.
be benefited.
Yes,
That's
sir.
another way of looking at it.